Concord Hospital is an acute care standalone hospital. We have about 25 physician practices that are owned, about 3,500 employees, 295 licensed beds at the hospital. In looking at supply chain automation, we really had to take a look at what our problems were and what we were solving. We did a return on investment, and I'll say that we had some hard savings and we had some soft savings. I'll walk through those hard savings. First, we took a look at our salaries to see, okay, how efficient can we be? We took a look at time studies. We took a look at process mapping. How can we reduce steps in the process? And from a supply chain department perspective, we actually looked at reducing by 1 FTE with more in the future, but we were comfortable doing the 1. And I think up to next year, we'll have reduced 2. So that's a direct decrease in our salaries that will continue over each year. In addition to that, we took a look at the excess inventory that is sitting on the shelf and said we need to right-size our inventory because it's simply expense. And we saved about 35% of our inventory, and to date, that's about $400,000 of savings. And that was simply a one-time savings. When we took all of that product, we kind of called it overstock. We brought it to the department, and when we needed to replenish other areas, we would pull from there instead of reordering. In addition to that, we took a look at the fact that supply expense tended to increase about 5% each year, and we said, okay, if we can sustain that, then we will save 5% each year. So we booked 5% going forward. We also took a look at our expiration management and said that we would save 2% in years 1 through 3 and 1% going forward, which we've also been able to sustain.
Everyone's heard the adage, no margin, no mission. And this certainly has had positive financial implications on the hospital. Everyone knows that we have to learn to live with lower reimbursement than we ever have before as the environment change, as the baby boomers retire, and more folks go off, commercial insurance and head into governmental paid insurances. So we know we have to curb, or at least curb, the expense line. It's been on an upward trend for years, and we need to curb that. And salaries play a big part of that, but supplies play a huge part in that as well, particularly in the high-impact areas, whether it be the OR, cath lab, and those types of areas.
So prior to implementing the Tecsys solution, we were managing supplies using par level management. Par levels were set based on emotion. So some staff members felt that the more supplies they had on the floor, the better. Supplies were scattered all over the place. It was disorganized. It was hard to find product, not only for our staff to put product away, but also for the nursing staff to come in and pull product. They also, were scattered with sending their orders to our prime vendor, Claflin. Some orders were going late because it was all dependent upon a person going up counting, which took hours, and then coming down and docking to send that order off to our vendor. We resolved by looking at usage of items. So that was the first step in determining what we needed for supplies on the floor. We were able to take that data, come up with an optimal par. Supply chain person just needs to go up and deliver supplies. So no more spending hours up there counting, organizing. Everything's very well organized. So much so that a nurse can come in based on families, how we have this supplies categorized. They can easily go in and say, what I'm looking for is under personal supplies, and find the product they need. It averaged out being a nurse would only pull 2 tags in an 8-hour shift. So when that information was discovered and we realized how easily it was for a nurse to go into a supply room, pull what they needed, and based on the strategically placed boards as they're walking out of the room, how easy it was to just slot a tag in and have it order.
In the past, so much time was spent on going to the floor, manually counting what's on the floor, using a handheld, coming downstairs to the warehouse, manually inputting a rec, or downloading your handheld so it can print out the requisition. With the Tecsys system, it's all done for you. All we have to do is educate end users, clinicians, to pull the tag off the bin, put it on the board, and it's ordered. That allows us in supply chain to utilize our time more spent with optimization of the product instead of trying to manually manage the product. And what I mean by that is this system allows you to run reports that shows you non-movers, slow movers, stockouts. It allows you to input how many day-a-week deliveries you have. It accounts for holidays. It accounts for weekends. It truly is the best system in my 33 years in healthcare that I've seen out there for supply chain and also for the end users who are using the product. Supply chain's not there on a weekend, they're shut down. You can't get any product. With the smart panels, with the Tecsys system, you're able to go in there, highlight that item, and it'll tell you where it's stocked in other locations. And then what a nurse supervisor, a nurse manager, or a nurse on that floor can call up another floor and say, hey, do you have an extra underpass that we can borrow until Monday? They come in, and then they can get it right there. The system provides extra confidence with these smart panels because of the light indicators for visual management for the tag. So when a tag's hung on a board, it can have 4 different lights. There's a blue light, which indicates request replenishment. There's a green light, which tells you that replenishment is on its way. And there's a yellow light, which tells you replenishment's on its way, but it takes longer than normal time, whether it could be a back order, it's a non-stock item, takes a couple days to come in. And there's a 4th one, which is a red light, which tells you that tag is not working, that supply chain will have to take that tag and rescan it and set it up appropriately.
I think the feedback feature is helpful. It does allow you to have a sense of where it is in the process. The revolutionary part for us was when we were able to have it in an orderly fashion that made it easy for us to use and is easy for materials management to stock.
Prior to implementing the system for the high dollar items, that was done on a requisition basis. So that was time the clinicians spent going to a computer, opening up templates, various templates, looking for the certain product. There were keying errors. It was, submitting that. Sometimes it went for approval if it went over certain dollar limits. And now what's happened is with implementing the RFID tags, it's all automated for them. So we gave the clinicians their time back, so they're spending more time with the patients, and we've kind of managed the order process for them. So as they use a product, they know where the product is. They go take the product, take it out of the bin, and all they're doing is walking by a smart receptacle, and just like you would with any sort of trash, they throw it in the receptacle, and it takes all of that information, and on predetermined times, it sends that through to our ERP system and submits the order. So no more going to a computer, looking through list and list of items to try to figure out what you want to order.
One thing that I can recall, because I've been in the operating room environment for a long time, is that a lot of the staff was very much involved in acquiring supplies. Different people on the team, whether you were a surgical technologist or a nurse, you had access to order supplies. And then you had to find time throughout your day or your week to actually order supplies so we didn't run out. And then that would lead to over-ordering and even hoarding of supplies. So by taking that out of the hands of the nursing staff, they're able to take care of patients, which is why they're here.
I've been involved with the solution incorporation here at the hospital since the onset. And I would strongly encourage other organizations to do it as well. One being is that we tend in the OR to think that we need a lot of items. And we really don't. We really need only enough for, say, 3 days because we constantly get new products in. If you use it up, you put the tag on the board, it gets replaced. So you don't need a lot of overstock, and that's what we were doing before, almost to the point of hoarding. We're constantly looking at, what's sitting on the shelf, what isn't moving. Material management is great at printing out reports of non-movers, slow movers. We've changed tags to be adaptive tags or yellow tags. We've cut down on our stock on hand. So in that respect, that's been great. And it's great that we have the ability to run those reports.
Here in the cath lab, one of the frustrations we've had with our inventory management in the past was always that one or two people would be in charge of inventory. So as products were depleted or products came out of stock, you would have to go to that one or two people to make sure that the subsequent orders got placed. So one of the solutions that came out now with our system is that now anybody can perform an order. So when anything is starting to run low, stock becomes depleted, you simply pull a tag, you place it, and the order goes through. You're not reliant on whether or not somebody is out on vacation, or somebody might not be available, or even the person that might forget to actually place an order. You have less outages in the long run of product that just doesn't come in because of personnel error. One of the, as far as inventory visibility or documentation of what products have been used over a course of a period of time, in the olden days, if I will say, everything was paper driven, or if it was on a computer, one person would be looking to see exactly about how much product was used. That would take time and effort in researching back and keeping track of specific products per se. Whereas now, one of the solutions is that the system documents that automatically for you. So as you place orders, the computer system keeps track of that for you. So you can kind of instantly go in and say, all right, in the cath lab we use a balloon called a quantum apex, or we used to use a balloon called a quantum apex. I want to know how many we've used, and or what sizes are, in a sense, more popular or more likely to be used. You can very quickly and easily take a look at that in the new system and say, all right, we've used X number of products. Maybe we should flex our inventory on certain styles of products, just simply because it's much faster and easier to see what's been used and what's, in a sense, a more popular product or a more driven product.
I support non-conforming and recalls. And I can tell you personally what a pain point that was before, if we got a recall on a stent or something, and we would have to physically go up and look at every product and look at lot and serial numbers. And recently a recall came through, and I was able to, at my desk, log into the system, look for that product, find exactly if we had lot number, serial number, and know exactly where to go pull that product. Huge, huge time saver.
The impacts have been very, very positive, the impacts to rolling out the solution. Inventory reduction has definitely happened right out of the gate, and we've sustained that. We have lowered our FTEs, our full-time equivalents, so we've lowered the number of team members we have working on supplies and managing inventory, and that has been sustained as well. So the return on investment, we feel, is very positive and has been sustained.